Hey folks, welcome in here now. We have a lot here for you today. You see, the mainstream media has been having a serious erection over this Trump Mar-a-Lago raid. Classified information. They say classified information. They say maybe he even had nuclear codes. I'm going to explain to you folks how it is impossible that he either had nuclear codes or classified information. He may have had both. However, there is a caveat and a catch that they don't want you to know. For example, when it comes to the nuclear codes, any American with a brain that studied anything about American politics and presidential anything knows that the second a president leaves the White House, and when I say leaves the White House, I mean another president takes over, those nuclear codes are changed. So if he had the nuclear codes when he left, they're not valid anymore, number one. Number two, if he had classified documents, when he left the White House, technically they're not classified, nor were those of Barack Hussein Obama or George W. Bush. This goes back, and this is what I said in the document in the description, folks, that they don't want you to know. In fact, I haven't heard this on any of the mainstream outlets of media on Fox, CNN, PMSNBC, CNBC, any of those networks. I haven't even heard about it on Clay and Buck. Maybe I missed it. Actually, it was our local radio host, Brian Mudd, that enlightened me onto this. And that I've been trying to find. There was an executive order issued by George W. Bush during his first term. Now, George W. Bush, as everybody knows, liked to spend a lot of time in his ranch in Texas. What he did was he issued an executive order, a standing executive order, that any documents that he takes with him when he leaves the state of Texas, this was a George W. Bush thing, automatically become declassified. They are no longer top secret documents if they leave the White House. This executive order has been standing ever since George W. Bush enacted it. Probably one of the only decent things he did. I wouldn't say decent, but it's coming back to haunt the Trump-hating Bush right now. So that in and of itself, Trump, if he had classified documents, they were automatically declassified when he left the White House with them. Nuclear codes, they changed. He can have all that, but all it is a souvenir. It's really not worth anything. But the mainstream media gets a hard on saying, oh, Trump's trying to blow up the world. He took the nuclear codes. He's taking this. He's taking that. No, nothing to do with any of that, folks. Don't let the mainstream media fool you. All this is proving that there's another attempt on a witch hunt, which the whole Trump presidency since before he even became a president was a witch hunt. Of course, if he had run as a Democrat and became a Democrat, he'd probably still be president. Or the Democratic Party would have ousted him because he's not a socialist. Or maybe they would have kept him because he would have actually made them look good. Remember, Trump was a Democrat for most of his not his political career, most of his career. In fact, it was Barack Obama that made him turn into a Republican, kind of like me. You know, I was always a liberal until Barack Obama came along. Even before then, I knew he was going to screw up the country. But even what Barack Obama did to this country is nothing compared to Joe Biden. I remember my late grandfather saying at Thanksgiving dinner when Trump was running, my grandfather was from New Jersey. He hated Donald Trump. And he said, well, I don't think Obama did such a bad job. And right now I'll say, well, grandfather, under the circumstances, I think you're right compared to Joe. Anyhow, so back to this affidavit being released. We have other information on this, but basically, this is what my theory on the matter is that the raid on Trump is simply to stop him from running so that the Democrats can focus all their attacks on DeSantis. You see, with Trump in the picture, it's still a guessing game as to who will be the Democrat nominee. If they can get Trump out of the picture, they can focus all their ammo on the DeSantis train, turn the gays against him, turn the teachers against him, which, mind you, that didn't work too good. We'll get into that later. But, you know, Trump's innocent because, like I said, when a president leaves office, the nuclear code's changed and everything else. There's nothing there. They're just trying to rile up a storm, just like they tried to impeach him twice. They failed twice. And besides, they never tried to impeach a president when they leave office. Now, common theory is that there might be something in these documents or what they're trying to try him for related to January 6th. Well, according to this redacted affidavit, which is heavily redacted, I have it pulled up right here on the screen from National Political Communist Radio. For those of you living in Rio Linda, that's NPR. And yeah, there's really nothing there. In fact, what is there might more prove Trump's innocence, so to speak. So hold on. It is Open Bar Friday, so let's have a little drink and get some Red Bull in us, so get a little more fired up and rain hell on the left. Why not? Okay, so it's being said. The affidavit, like I said, was heavily redacted, and it basically shows you what is going on. 180 classified documents is the headline from NPR. But what is it that they were looking for? In fact, the National Archives is looking for yes, letters from Kim Jong-un with President Trump. Letters that Kim Jong-un sent to President Trump. And this is on pages 6 and 7. And it says here, or no, 7 and 8. And they have a bunch of crap into it. Give me a second here. National Archives. And again, there's a bunch of crap here. It says, knowing who alter the U.S. statute, U.S. Constitution under 18, statute 1519, whoever knowingly alters, destroys, mutilates, conceals, covers up, falsifies, or makes false entry in any record, blah, 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 document, ineligible object within jurisdiction of any department, agency of the United States, or any case filed under Title 11, or in relation to or contemplation of any such matter or case, shall be fined under this title, imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. Now, as I had already said, there is nothing there because of the EO put in by George W. Bush, or the fact that there was the nuclear code's change. There is nothing in there that actually incriminates President Trump. This is just a raid. And again, as I said, what they're really looking for is Kim Jong-un stuff. Also under 18 U.S.C. Statute 2701, whoever willfully and unlawfully conceals, removes, mutilates, obliterates, destroys, attempts to do so with any intent to do so, or takes and carries away with any record, proceeding, map, book, paper, document, or other thing filed or deposited with any clerk or officer of any court of the United States or in any public office, or with any judicial or public officer of the United States, shall be fired under this title and imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. Whoever having the custody of any such record, this is Part B, proceeding, map, book, document, paper, blah, 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 pretty much the same damn thing as Part A. Here is where the meat is. The term president under the PRA 44 U.S.C. 2201. The term presidential records means documentary materials or any reasonably segregable portion thereof created or received by the president of the or the president's immediate staff, or a unit of the individual of the executive office of the president whose function is to advise or assist the president in the course of conducting activities which relate to or have an effect on the carrying out of constitutional, statutory, or other official ceremonies, duties of the president. Such term A includes documentary materials relating to the political activities of the president, members of the president's staff, but only if such activities relate to or have a direct effect upon carrying out of the constitutional, statutory, or other ceremonial duties of the president, but Part B does not include any documentary materials that are I official records. This is lowercase I. This is like mini Roman numerals. Official records of an agency as defined in Section 552C of Title 5, United States Code. 2, personal records. 3, stocks of publication and stationery. Or 4, extra copies of documents produced only for convenience of reference when such copies are clearly so identified. There you have it, folks. Right there, you have it. Those documents, as I just specified, through this statute in the affidavit, what they want are letters from Kim Jong-un to President Trump. That has nothing to do with anything they are going after. It's basically, again, a witch hunt. It's trying to rile up the Democrats, make them think Trump's a bad guy, because none of the Democrats are going to go and look at this stuff. They don't have the time to actually read the entire, 30-page affidavit. People like us on the right side of things, we take the time, we read it, we look at it, and that's how we figure out they're full of horse manure. No, I'm not going to say horse manure. I'm going to say pig shit, which is a hell of a lot dirtier. So we have all this information here, and again, what they're after are the letters from Kim Jong-un. Now, what I have also is apparently, and this was from CNN. No, I don't have it on here. I have it in my Washington Post, maybe. Oh, there's Washington Post. So CNN had reported it earlier. It was an email obtained by CNN in June of 2021. It says, please let me know before you mail it and pass it along to the tracking code once it has been sent, the official wrote to Gas. In a June 2021 email obtained by CNN, I need to make sure I have staff on this end to receive the package. Essentially, what the hell? Oh, yeah, get the damn FBI out of here. Shit. The hell they're trying to rape me now? Let me finish my beer first. Essentially, what it is that the letters from Kim Jong-un, the National Archive wants. They wanted, look at this, folks. They wanted these top secret documents to be FedExed. That was in the email. More than a year before, FBI conducted this raid on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Again, this is from a Washington Examiner. The National Archives instructed one of the former president's attorneys to send some sensitive White House materials, including messages from North Korean leader Kim Jong-un via FedEx. Shortly after Trump left office, officials from the National Archives began asking Trump officials to return various documents that were grabbed from the White House. At one point during negotiations, a senior National Archives official told former Trump lawyer Scott Gass to send the letters from North Korean leader using FedEx's overnight service. Ultimately, the National Archives, of course, did not receive the letters until 7 months later, when the agency picked up the documents during a search in January. However, discussions between Trump and the National Archives began to break down further after Tom Fitton, which we all know of, a prominent conservative activist, began advising the former president on the situation. Fitton had told Trump that returning the documents would be a mistake, claiming that the law was on his side because of a 2012 court case involving his own organization that he had said proved a president could do what he wants with his own record. And this is clear, folks. I've been saying this. Again, once he leaves office, anything he takes with him due to this standing EO put in place by George W. Bush, George Woke Bush, I guess, back in 2003, I think it was, declassifies everything. Once the president takes those documents on Air Force One, they are officially declassified. They can be reclassified once they return to the White House. But at that point, they are no longer classified documents. And again, if there was anything really serious in there, like they think Trump giving away secrets to North Korea or this, that, or the other thing, you think they would have wanted FedEx to deliver them? I mean, how many times have you not gotten a package from FedEx on time or it goes to the wrong address? Could you imagine that? That's a problem on their end. Now, naturally, Trump is smart. He didn't do that. But seriously, there's nothing top secret in there. The documents they raided the place for, they wanted to be FedExed. Unless that's another setup, too. Oh, he actually FedExed them, and then they had somebody from the other side set up to pick them up. Come on, man. You think he's that dumb? It's the fake news that's making themselves look dumb right now. And that's why I say this is a total witch hunt. It's just to distract from the mopping of the floor that the Democrats are going to receive during the midterms, especially with this $500 billion student debt forgiveness spending bill that Brandon just put through that even Democrats are outraged with. Okay, first what he does is he passes this Inflation Reduction Act, which of course increases inflation, puts $870 billion more to the IRS, wants to hire 87,000 more IRS agents to enforce the Student Loan Forgiveness Act so that when you got to pay your extra, I don't know how many $1,000 in taxes based on your income, so that these students that probably got degrees they'll never use with money they didn't have get their damn money back, free money, then they're coming to your house to make sure you have to pay it. Oh, we got Dylan here. Oh, the fact the FBI has been under Trump since before he was elected with no results makes it. Oh, no, it's doing the same thing to all of the Trump supporters. It really makes no sense. I mean, they're trying all this crap. And again, as I said earlier in the program, George W. Bush enacted a law that said it's standing executive order. It's never been changed. Any classified document that he left with once he leaves, even if he took it on Air Force One to his ranch in Texas when he was still president, it's automatically declassified until it goes back. It's the same thing with Barack Hussein. Oh, he had took classified documents from the White House, but he never brought them back. And did they ever go after Barack Hussein? Oh, no. They did go after Bill Clinton for taking classified documents, but guess what? That law wasn't in place when Bill Clinton left the White House. You see? There's a big difference in the way that things roll around here. Good for the goose isn't necessarily good for the Democrat gander, or vice versa. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at. And again, FedExed, you don't FedEx top secret information. You have the National Institute of Homeland Security or somebody else come and get it from, or Secret Service for that matter. So, I mean, really, what we're going at here is, again, just another complete and total screwed up witch hunt. They're never going to quit because they are so afraid of Donald Trump that it's not even funny. That Trump derangement syndrome is a real disease that has taken, I really not even half of this country by storm. It's a small portion of people, but they're the ones that make themselves the most heard. And that's the problem. That's why we need more programs like this to get out there and shared and make people know a little bit more about what's going on. Now, what was I going to next? Oh, yes. This is a very good one. Wokeness going bye-bye. That's a very good one. You see, DeSantis backed school board members, right? You know, they were fighting this, the don't say gay, the this, that, or the other thing. Well, here's a headline from the New York Post. DeSantis backed school board candidates win big in Florida elections. 25 of 30 school board candidates, this is older, it says 21, won their races, including 4 of 7 who were pitted against Democrat-backed opponents. Of the remaining 9, the 4 of the DeSantis picks will still have a chance to attain the election office via a runoff. DeSantis candidates all ran races emphasizing parental rights, school choice, and complete transparency about what their children are learning, i.e., 5-year-old boys can't get a vagina and can't get pregnant. Anybody that thinks otherwise really needs to be shacked up in the wacko basket for the rest of their life. I'm sorry. Or they're a sick motherfucker. One or the other. So it just goes to show you that the parents are getting pissed. They don't want their children indoctrinated. And this is right after a woke judge kind of blocked the Stop Woke Act, but the Parental Rights and Education Act still passed. So, go be it. We're not quitting. They're getting more pissed. And again, that's why they're going after Trump. Because Trump is the face of the modern Republican Party. But you have DeSantis. They can't spend... You see, Democrats are like 3-year-olds. They have to be focused on one thing. They're naturally very ADD, but they can't do 2 things at once. They can't multitask. So if they get Trump out of the way, they can focus on DeSantis all the way. And the truth of the matter is, I mean, you know, a lot of people really like Ronnie D. You know, Top Gov. For all y'all that haven't seen that ad, I would highly recommend checking it out. I might be able to put a link in the description box. But seriously, you know, this is what we have. This is what we're dealing with. And here in Florida, we haven't had a majority Republican base in all the years they've been counting that. Republicans outnumber Democrats in the state of Florida now by about 30,000. Up until last year, it was the other way around. And even more extreme. This was typically a blue state. We voted red a lot because of the Cuban population, because they don't want their state to become communist. Simply put, but that was it. Now you're having a lot of people change their ways. All because of Governor DeSantis and the great job that he's done. By the way, congratulations to Wilton Simpson for winning the Ag Commissioner primary. And back to our Florida politics, which may not concern the rest of you around the country. Charlie Crist, Florida's original orange man. Yes, Charlie Crist, Florida's original orange man. Yeah, this guy, he was governor of Florida as a Republican. And then he ran for Senate, I believe, as a Republican against Rubio and lost. Then I believe he ran for governor. I can't remember. Maybe governor as a Democrat in the primaries got beat. Or maybe he didn't. I don't know. I'm kind of against Rick Scott. You know, his political history is so long, it's kind of hard to keep tabs on. I know he ran for Senate at one point, I think, as an independent. And maybe governor. I know he ran as an independent for something. And then he was a congressman. And as I said in the previous program, which has been canceled for quote-unquote hate speech, Charlie Crist has basically his biggest fund. And this is why Charlie Crist beat Nikki Weed. I say Nikki Weed because of her ties to the marijuana industry and everything else. The reason Charlie Crist beat Nikki Fried is because he has the endorsement of the teachers union. And everybody said, where's Charlie Crist money coming from? You. That's where Charlie Crist funding is coming from. You. If you own a house and you pay property taxes, that's where his money's coming from. Because the American Federation of Teachers Florida chapter has donated all of their donations to Charlie Crist. Not to Nikki Fried, but to Charlie Crist. Which is kind of strange because, I don't know, Charlie Crist was, again, once a Republican. He's always been orange, though. And he says, oh, the teachers gave me money. No, the teachers didn't give you money. The taxpayers gave you money. And they did involuntarily. You got donations from Republicans, Charlie. You did, which is a good thing when you say, if you like DeSantis and you like that hate, I don't want your vote. Yes, that's exactly right. You don't want the vote of 54% of Floridians polled who love Ron DeSantis. And that's just out of the number of those polled folks and the ones that can vote. So, really? Go ahead, Charlie. Spew your hate speech. We don't want you as governor either. Isn't that right? Now, we got that, we got all that in the bag. So, again, let's just see how the Democrats deal with this garbage, with this Trump raid and everything else. As far as I'm concerned, all it's doing is making it look better for Trump. I've been saying that since day one. Because, listen, this is like... Oh, there's certain things I can't say on here, but you all know what I'm thinking. It's been a witch hunt since the day he came down the escalator, and you just can't take the man down. And the guy you got there in the White House right now, who doesn't know what the hell day it is, who thinks I mean, my late mother always used to have a joke. Her and I did. It was, well, to the Democrats, 2 + 2 always equals 5. I'm like, no, to the modern day Democrats, 2 + 2 equals 5,000. We're going to spend $500 billion and cancel student loan debt, and oh shit, I shit my pants, and everything's going to be fine, and it's going to reduce inflation. I paid for my college. Well, my grandfather did. What about that's the other thing? What about the rest of us that paid for our school or worked hard in high school to get Florida bright futures? These liberals that got degrees as social workers and can't find a job. Well, actually, in some blue states, I'm pretty sure they can. But they get their money back. It's like I said, it's kind of an FU to the people that really worked hard and did pay back their student loans. So, this is what it is. This is how the Democrats roll. And it's how they're always going to roll. Unfortunately, it's not going to change. They want the border open. They want to bring in all this crime and fentanyl and everything else just for their own personal benefit. And as I said in last week's show, there was, again, that show got canceled. There was a group of 20 people in various counties around the state of Florida who had been arrested on felony charges for illegally voting. And this is where it gets more interesting. I have a person at work who I will not name, who is a convicted felon, and he got a voter registration card once he got out of prison. He applied for it as a Republican, and then they revoked it. These people, seemingly, they were all registered Democrats. They voted in the 2020 election. Now, in Florida, that doesn't mean anything. It's in the Miami Herald article, so I'm not making up false information. In Florida, that doesn't mean anything because Florida still went for Trump. But how much of that happened in other states is my question. They got prosecuted for illegally voting. And I, in a way, think that's wrong because they didn't really know. It should be, and again, all these elections departments that gave these people the right to vote where they shouldn't have, because, for example, the one woman was convicted of second-degree murder. That is not a non-violent felony. That's not like having, like drinking and driving and crashing into a telephone pole, okay? It's not like having an ounce of weed in your car. It's not like having a little bit of coke in your car. That's second-degree murder. That's a big thing. But Democrat election supervisor, they were all Democrat election supervisors in all of these counties that allowed these people to vote, and they all registered as Democrats. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so, folks. So next time anybody tries to tell you that us conservatives are being stupid, put them in their place. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. Please smash that subscribe button and go and share this because people need to know the truth before YouTube cancels me again. Thanks a lot, folks. Have a great weekend. If it is your weekend, I know here in in America, a weekend is whenever your 2 days off are. It's not the same for everybody. Cheers to you. Let's go, Brandon, and let's kick some ass in November. Yeah!